If I lost every single one of my beehives today and had to start completely over from scratch, let's say I didn't have any equipment, something happened to it, I don't know what, I wouldn't do what most beginners do. I would do these 5 things and shave off years of uphill battle. So stick around and I'm going to show you exactly what those 5 things are right now. Welcome back to the Hive Doctor, everyone. So as you can see, my bees are busy. Today's a nice, beautiful spring day. A little windy, but it's not stopping my girls from going out and bringing in tons of pollen. No doubt a little bit of nectar. There's quite a few things blooming that is available for them right now. In our area, autumn olive is blooming. Maple's over with. We still have dandelion, henbit, mountain silverbell. It's always nice to have a variety of things so that your bees have a variety of nutrition in their diet. So let's get straight to it. Most new beekeepers focus on bees, and that makes sense. They want to get into beekeeping. They don't yet know what they're getting themselves into. But if I had to start over from scratch with the knowledge that I have today and all of the experience, I wouldn't focus on bees. I would focus on systems. Because systems are what actually keep the bees alive and thriving in the long run and more consistently. So here's my 5-point framework, just pulled off the top of my head with also a little bit of planning involved. So not quite everything pulled off the top of my head. Number 1 has everything to do with what I was just talking about with the bees, what they're doing right now. I would learn my environment first, because my environment where I live, where I'm going to have bees, are my bees' environment. I would learn to identify the minor sources of nectar that keep my bees alive during the warm months, and I would learn the major sources of nectar, the honey flows, the nectar flows, if you will, that will supply me with a crop of honey. I would learn what those plants are, learn to identify them, when they bloom, how long they bloom, and that way I could also, when those things are happening, I could gauge their intensity of bloom, because that varies from year to year. Sometimes you've got something just, it comes on strong and you've got a bumper crop. And the next year after that, it kind of sucks, like you didn't get kind of quite what you thought you would. And so in essence, when I'm learning about my environment, the bees' environment, I'm learning about forage availability in my area, because that matters more than calendar dates. Think of it as seasonal awareness. Number 2, I would choose my equipment more intentionally. Now, I'm kind of old school. I love analog. I'd rather have a watch with arms than a digital readout. My Beak Jeep over here, it's got analog gauges. I love seeing a needle tell me what's going on instead of digital stuff. I like wooden boxes. I like leather, you know, down to earth, normal, traditional things. Most of the time. But if I was to rethink my system starting from scratch, I would go with something more insulated. And there's a lot of choices on the market right now. I know can't think of all of them right off the top of my head, but you've got the Hive IQ, there's Hive 365, there's Primal Bee, there's the Apame Hive, and I think there's one more. So if you're that one more and you're watching this video, sorry. Go ahead and make a comment. Let everyone know what you are. I didn't look at that part before I got into making this. But I would look into an insulated hive, because I've learned that in my area, I don't need to insulate colonies. But I've got buddies that do. And their hives are always further ahead when those colonies come out of winter, coming into spring. So, though they don't need wrapped or insulated for winter, turns out they still benefit greatly from it. And so I would choose some kind of insulated hive like that, because it's also a system. It's a system that matches and stays together. I can't tell you how many times I've designed some kind of top hive feeder / quilting box, Vivaldi board, and messed up on the spacing, and the bees will build up a bunch of burr comb, or I didn't leave enough space. I have done the top of these things so many times through the years since I've been a Georgia beekeeper. But when it comes to these manufactured insulated hives, they all come uniform. You don't have that accidental learning curve. They're already made the way that they should with the way that the bees work. And so in that regard, everything is standardized through my operation. And it makes it way more simple. I don't have a mismatch of things. And so in that regard, I'm no longer experimenting with equipment. I'm eliminating decisions, just going with what I've learned works. And when you can eliminate decision making, you save time, effort, and resources in beekeeping. Number 3, I would choose my apiary site for the best success of my colonies. For example, an urban site is not going to yield as much as a rural or out in the country, out in the middle of nowhere kind of site. But I still need accessibility. Sun, wind, forage availability, climate, what kind of natural disasters does that area have? How can I prepare for those? Flash flooding, tornadoes, hurricanes, you get the idea. So it's me thinking year round, not just one season at a time. Number 4, I would build a repeatable inspection system. Something that relied on consistency, that became consistent, and not just getting around to it, doing it when I feel like it. And so to have my own personal checklist, so to speak. I don't actually have checklists. It's just my style. I know what for me is pointless to do in beekeeping and what is beneficial. I would inspect for decisions. I would not inspect out of curiosity, which I don't anyways. But again, remember, we're starting over. So in essence, I wouldn't open hives to just see how they're doing. I would open them up to decide something based on the external environmental influences that I know are going on. And then the 5th thing that I would do is that I would treat for Varroa mites as the central game from day one. I would pick a strategy early, no drifting, no guessing, learn how to monitor ethically, and then I would pre-plan my interventions earlier rather than when it's too late. Symptom-based beekeeping is not the way to go, and that's where beekeeping is today. I really feel like we need to get away from that and get into signal-based beekeeping. Seeing things, those subtle signs before things are too late, before things go too wrong, before a colony has fewer potential outcomes. We don't want to nurse them back to health. We don't want to get in here and just look for the bad things. We want colonies to thrive. We want to set them up for that early, preventatively. Most colonies don't die because they didn't get enough to eat. They usually die from what beekeepers didn't plan for, and a lot of that is too many interventions. So one system that I would like to recommend to you is going to be the Varroa mite playbook, because there's so many things on the market right now, and each one of those products has a specific type of use in the hive. They're not all the same. You don't just pick a mite control product, throw it in the hive, and hope that it works. Some are meant to knock mites down, but you've got to time that with where the colony is in their development in relation to where the Varroa are in their development. Some are meant to be an easy treatment to where it's not overwhelming the colony. And so not all Varroa mite treatments are created equal. You can't use just any of them at any time of the year. A lot of them are temperature controlled, not all of them, but this breaks it down. It makes you more familiar with what's available that is still effective, that mites have not built a resistance up to, so that you can go in with a plan and map out your year, season by season, knowing what you're using and why and when. And so those are the 5 things I would do if I had to start over from scratch. I would try to become a better beekeeper. That donkey likes to put on a show, doesn't he? I would build a better system and let the system make me better at what I do. Let me know if you guys use any specific insulated hive equipment down below in the comments. Tell me what you like about it. Tell me what you don't like, what you wish was done better. I'd love to to hear some of that, because to be honest, I am seriously consider transitioning from my wooden ware over to an insulated hive system. I already have one in mind, but I want to hear what you guys have to say first. Oh, and don't forget, you can get your own copy of this at books.buy/the-hive-doctor. And I've got other books available there as well. This is what's going to take the guesswork out of you getting mites under control and having hives that thrive more consistently. Hive Doctor out again.